Hey everybody, good day from very cold and wet Tokyo in the beginning of March. So I'm out here in the elements and I wanted to go over a question that I get a lot from people right now because this is sort of the peak season for visiting Japan, or it's coming up to it. When is the best time to visit Japan? When is it? John, could you please answer the question? And I've been getting so many email messages over the last 6 weeks for people that want to know when to come to Japan. A lot of people are interested in the cherry blossoms, and that's the season that we're coming up to in a couple of weeks. So before we get to that, I thought I would answer this question. If you're coming for the cherry blossoms, is this the best season for you to be in Japan? And I can answer that pretty easily. It depends. Well, that's not so easy. But there are two seasons. Let me break it down for you. So we got a couple of people that are still joining us. The numbers are going up, so give me a second. Today in Tokyo, you can see that the weather is not very nice. I'm walking down the street in my neighborhood. I live just on the outskirts of the city, and we have a wet day. Many people in Japan will have these clear umbrellas because when the wind is coming, you can point the umbrellas down and still see through it, which is why these clear umbrellas are pretty nice to have. The temperature is a lot cooler, and at this time of year in March, the temperatures will go, they'll get pretty warm to like up to 15 degrees Celsius, which is, I don't know, like 60 degrees Fahrenheit maybe, and then they'll drop down to like near freezing again, and this constant shift in temperatures from hot and cold make this not a very good time of year to visit Japan. The end of February and the beginning of March, I would say, is not good because you have to bring a lot of clothes. You have to be prepared for winter and you have to be prepared for spring, so that makes it not ideal. The best, are you ready now? Here comes the answer. The best time of year to visit Japan is late spring and late autumn. Late spring and late autumn. Basically, that means, the beginning, maybe the last week of March to the end of May. And then again in autumn from September 1st to about October. September 1st is pretty nice. I'd say all of autumn is pretty good. And I'm gonna break down why I think this. So spring is easy. Right now, this is kind of the start of spring, and it's not a nice time because winter is still here and the weather's breaking, and it's still kind of too cold to really enjoy it. And yet there's days where it's too warm. As I said before, it's hard to dress for this time of year. But April 1st, or a week before and a week after, is the peak of visiting Japan because everybody wants to see the cherry blossoms. It's when hotels are scarce, especially in Kyoto and Tokyo. It's when prices skyrocket to the top. It's when all the trains in Tokyo or in Japan, all the Shinkansens are booked, meaning it's hard for you to get a ticket. You have to be able to reserve a couple of weeks in advance. I mean, you're always going to be able to get on a Shinkansen. I think they have one on the Tokaido Shinkansen leaving every 10 minutes. So you're always going to be able to get on one, but that might mean you have to stand. And especially during Golden Week, which is another time of year. So Golden Week is from April 29th to May 5th. And this time of year, all of the trains in Japan are booked. Like I remember going to Aomori for Golden Week. Or was it, yeah, during Golden Week. And I had to come back on the Shinkansen. And the Shinkansen was packed. But you can get on it, you just have to stand. So I had to stand for 3 hours holding on to a seat in the row in one of the cars, and it was kind of uncomfortable, but I got back. If you have a seat reservation and you book a month in advance, then you're gonna be able to sit. So that's one reason why I think, I'm gonna switch hands here. That's one reason why I think the holiday seasons in Japan should be avoided, which is April 29th to May 5th. And then again, Obon, which is I think the second or third week of August, should be avoided because everybody in Japan is traveling, and that's the peak season inside Japan. Peak season for tourists is April 1st, all of April, I'd say, because everybody wants to see the cherry blossoms. So you might want to avoid that and come in May. If the cherry blossoms are important to you, you can still see them in Hokkaido in May, but once you've seen the cherry blossoms once, then I think that's pretty much enough. So once again, like, it's late spring and late autumn. Those are the times that are best. Now, late spring, all right, I just want to get down here. It's getting cold. My hands are getting a little bit cold. All right. So, my favorite month is May. May is good because it doesn't rain and you have the warmth of spring. The flowers are out, there's new leaves on the trees. You might not catch the cherry blossoms, but you're gonna have that nice green color that's really beautiful. And I like that just as much as the cherry blossoms. Cherry blossoms in Tokyo are overrated. So if you're coming to Tokyo to see the cherry blossoms, it's overrated. You wanna be outside of the city, I think, to take it in. I recommend Yoshinoyama in Nara Prefecture. And if you wanna see where Mount Fuji is, probably go to Kawaguchiko, which is Lake Kawaguchi. That has really nice views and a beautiful cherry blossom area. You get views of Mount Fuji in the distance, or to Hakone as well is nice. But cherry blossom season is a beautiful time, and you should see it once, but it's gonna be very crowded and expensive. So if you're coming on a budget, good luck with that. That's not gonna happen. May is my favorite time, just weather-wise. This is why they have Golden Week. I believe they call it Golden Week because it never rains, really. It never, like this day is miserable, do you see? All around me, it's just a really awful day. You don't have this, I don't think it never really rains like this during Golden Week. It's just golden, there's just sunshine, blue skies, it's beautiful, the end of April. That's the peak of Japan, but after May 5th to May 20th, it's gorgeous in Japan, and I think that's the best time to be here. May 5th to May 20th. Autumn is something strange about Japan. Japan has 4 seasons. Whoa, the wind's coming. Japan has 4 seasons, okay? Winter, spring, summer, fall. And I mentioned this, a lot of people in Canada and the US are saying, well, of course it does, but a lot of people in the Philippines or India or in tropical regions, they don't have 4 seasons. So this is something that's very attractive to other people in this area. 4 seasons. So you have, each season has its own unique attractions. So I think that's something you should consider when you visit Japan. Do you want to see something seasonal? Winter is skiing. Winter is snow. Winter is different cuisine. It's kotatsu. It's onsen. It's a different environment. Spring is the cherry blossoms. It's cooler. But you have the flowers blooming, things coming back to life, and you kind of feel that this spring vibe is really in the air. Summer is hot, long days. You don't really know how hot Tokyo summer is until you've been here. It's hot in Tokyo. You're just melting. But the long days help, and all of the festivals too. Summer is a great time to catch festivals and get festival food and kind of feel the vibe of that time, the fireworks. And autumn is wonderful because if you miss the cherry blossoms, Japanese autumn is beautiful. You have a lot of colors, and I've done some live streams, notably in Yonago last year, where the autumn colors were just stunning, and the weather clears up. This is what I like about autumn. The weather, it's funny, I gotta look both ways at the intersections. The weather just clears up in the end of September, and it's just beautiful in October and November. And around November 10th, it starts to get cold, and the winter, you could feel winter breaking. But before then, it's just absolutely beautiful. The only thing you have to worry about in autumn, if you're thinking about making a trip to Japan in autumn, the only thing you should worry about is typhoons, because they just roll in, and you can't expect, you don't know which way they're gonna roll. They come from the Pacific, start down in the Philippines, around this area from the Pacific, and then they roll either towards Hong Kong or they come up towards Japan. If they roll towards Hong Kong or inwards to China, then usually, you know, we might get some of the effects down in Okinawa. Okinawa is a tough season in the end of summer and the beginning of autumn. But other than that, the weather is just really beautiful in the fall. And prices are lower, which is weird, you know? Prices get cheaper in the autumn and after Golden Week in May, and these are the best times to travel. Very, very underrated. All right, I'm gonna see if I can put this umbrella down for a second, just take the rain. Oh, that's better. Okay. I know, I'm just stopping at this intersection. So now I can take a look at some of your comments. I hope this is very helpful because people have been asking me this question. There's no real easy way to say it. For those of you who are joining this live stream right now, you have 4 seasons in Japan. There's no best time to visit, but if you're thinking weather-wise, and normally what I say to people is that it's May and the end of October to the middle of end of September to the middle of October. Gorgeous, gorgeous, and it's cheaper, and because everybody wants to see the cherry blossoms, and you should, but maybe you shouldn't. That just means that maybe it's maybe this is such a crowded time that you might not like it the same. Yeah, so I'm seeing some of the comments here. That's right, Japan has the 4 seasons are gorgeous. There's people who are saying, oh, no, come back. I'm losing my umbrella. I love being out here in the elements. You just never know what's gonna happen. All right, I can kind of prop the umbrella here. All right, we're sort of good. All right, I'll just leave it there. That'll work. These umbrellas are like about $2 or 150, 200 yen. They're see-through, they're clear if you missed my explanation, because when the wind comes in or you're riding a bicycle or you're walking in crowds, you can see through the umbrella. That's why these clear umbrellas exist. That's what I was told anyways. It's not just because they're cheaper, it's because they're see-through, which is helpful. I'm just gonna take the rain for a little bit. I think the gimbal will be okay. So far, so good. Yeah, so those are the best times of the year. Now, because Japan has 4 seasons, that also means that you have to consider where you want to go. So in the fall, Tohoku is just stunning. This is the north of Tokyo, and gradually it starts off in Hokkaido, and the autumn colors come down towards Kyushu. But I have to tell you, Tohoku is just incredible because they have these onsen towns, which I showed you in live streams and on the main channel all through January. It's just stunning, and if you get a chance and you're in Japan in autumn, you have to go to the onsen. You have to visit some of the national parks up in Tohoku. And if you're here in the spring, I tend to think that the best place for cherry blossoms is down in the Kansai area, but I'll be honest with you, all of Japan is just stunning. All of Japan, just except for Tokyo. And this is the one thing that a lot of foreign tourists that are visiting Japan, I gotta get my umbrella out of this thing. All the people driving by are watching me. So one of the things that you have to consider is that Tokyo is just so crowded and it's overrated for the cherry blossoms. And everybody who's been asking me where's the best spot to visit the cherry blossoms in Tokyo, I have to say, like, there isn't really any. I mean, they're nice places in Tokyo, but you want to be out there with nature. This is where you start to feel that connection with Japan. Japan is very deeply connected with nature. That's why the food is really good here. I think the people, the chefs, and even like mothers who are cooking for the families or fathers that are cooking for their families, they really keep in mind the ingredients that they're putting into the food here. That's why food and the cuisine here is so good. It's that deep connection with nature, and yeah, that it's just something that's very important. So that's why I think in the springtime, when you're talking about Tokyo's cherry blossoms, you go to your local parks, try to find a small park, try to get a vibe from there, but you have to leave the city. You know, the only reason that, all right, you know who goes to the cherry blossoms in Tokyo? It's the company employees and a lot of people who go out there and they get drunk. And there's always some poor schmo who has to get a blue sheet and he reserves a spot underneath the tree and he sits there all day waiting for the company employees to finish their job, and his job is to protect the blue sheet so nobody steals it. And then at night between 6 p.m. and maybe 10 p.m. they just drink and drink and drink. and it gets really loud. There's lots of food. It's a festival vibe, but it's totally different. You don't feel any connection with nature, not very much. Ueno Park might be the best, but I would say I'm never really satisfied because it's too crowded. Yeah, every time I've been to Ueno Park, I can't remember a good experience that I thought was better than going to some place like Odawara or Hakone, or being out on the Sea of Japan side, or someplace different. Yeah, I can't recall a place in Tokyo. I can't recall a cherry blossom experience that I really enjoyed in Tokyo. Yoyogi Park is the go-to place for locals, but they don't for local expats. But the thing with Yoyogi Park is that it's not really. It's just a convenient place. It's like Central Park in New York, and you don't really get a very good vibe, I think, with nature. It's about meeting your friends more than being around nature, I think. And that's Tokyo. You do the cherry blossoms here to be with your friends and and meet up because there's cherry blossoms. You don't do it to celebrate the cherry blossoms so much as meeting your friends, I think. That's the vibe I get. That's my experience from the cherry blossoms here in Tokyo. Yes, and according to Colin, get drunk. I see that some of the comments here coming in. Very true. People just want an excuse, and there you go. Cherry blossoms are a great excuse. I don't know. In the comments here, before I turn off this live stream, why don't you write in, because now YouTube is sharing the comments, the chats here. So why don't you write in the best time of year in Japan that you've had when you visited? What was great about it, or what are some of the times of years that you didn't like? Maybe if you want to mention that in the chat, so the comment section, I think that'll be really helpful. I've been here for 20 years, and that sort of makes me something of, I don't know, maybe a professional in terms of seeing the country and knowing when the best times to go and where the best places are. But when people ask me for my advice on where to go, I'm very hesitant to give an answer. The reason is simple. Every single person, and I get this from comments just this morning. I think I get about 150 messages from people on all the social network platforms, and I read through them and I can't answer them all, but one of the most asked questions is, where's the best place to go in Japan? Where should I go? What's a travel? What route should I take? And my answer is, like, I don't know you. And it's such an intimate question to me, for someone who's been here for a long time, is because everybody's personality is different. What you're interested in. Some people don't like museums. Some people love museums. Some people love castles and history. Some people like manga and anime and prefer the subcultures. Japan is such a small country on the map, on the globe, but inside this country, it's so big to me. With the 47 prefectures, each one with its own history, its own culture, its own language, its own dialect. Not language, but dialect. And it's really diverse country in my eyes. So when you ask what the best place is, geez, that's such a hard question to answer. I'm gonna put this down here and try to see if I can see the chats a little bit more. Look at this park is flooded. Check it out. Yeah. And this is a little park. You see above this blue thing in the center of the screen is a cherry blossom tree. Let's go see how the buds are. So I can take a look at your comments a little bit here. While I'm walking, I'm sort of trying not to get hit by a car. Does Japan get lonely if you travel alone? That's a good question, because one of the patrons, Amanda, will be making a trip here alone. And you know what? I think that, oh wow, this tree is really big. It's hard to see the buds. But I would say they're not green yet here on the tree. There are some buds though, but they're not green. So this one's gonna be a little bit later, a late bloomer. I would say though, like, if you're traveling alone in Japan, yeah, you probably there's gonna be some moments where you are alone. I've traveled mostly alone. I'm gonna put this down and put the umbrella over it here. I have a tripod for the gimbal. Oh, okay, very nice. Yeah, you know what? You will feel alone because you're traveling alone, and Japanese people are quite shy. It just depends. Thank you for the super chats, by the way. It just depends on your personality. This is the reason why I can't give really good travel advice to you unless I know you, right? To me, traveling is a very intimate thing, and if you're an adventurous person, you're not gonna ask me what the best route is. You're gonna know already before you ask me. Like, you've already done your research. And if you travel alone a lot, I've backpacked to 70 countries over like many, many years, around the world 5 times as a backpacker, and I always did it alone. And the reason why is because when you're alone, your mission is to meet other people as well as travel. And I've always been more outgoing when I was alone and had better experiences when I was alone than I was when I traveled with a group. So, Japan is an extremely safe place. People who've traveled alone have had amazing experiences. I hitchhiked alone last year. I had an amazing experience. So it just depends on your personality. If you're someone who's an introvert, you're gonna feel lonely a little bit. But you're gonna meet people at guest houses, other travelers on the same route, and you can make friends and then branch out if you want to go to other places. The cherry blossoms is a really wonderful time to do that because people are a little bit more social during that time. Yeah. So you have a drink, you can go and sit down with, usually if you're a foreigner in Japan, people will invite you over to sit with them during the cherry blossom seasons, and you can make friends with the locals, but don't get too clingy because you never know how long it's gonna last, because sometimes people just go and they say okay bye, and it becomes a little uncomfortable to say goodbye. But other than that, it's a really wonderful time. Yeah, Mount Takao is a nice place. Yeah. Kinosaki Onsen is a good autumn spot. I guess so. There's so many good autumn spots. There's not one in particular, I think. Let's see here. Okay. I wanted to take questions more just on travel, but yeah, Coca-Cola has an alcoholic drink coming out, and I'll tell you what, it's just a gimmick and a fad, and it's not going to be very popular in Japan. I think people will try it for 2 months and it goes away. You have to understand, if you've been following this channel, Japan is a trendy place. Coca-Cola is good at innovating, but not with Coca-Cola the drink, all right? Things come and the things go. It's like the 4 seasons. It's like the cherry blossoms. 1 month you have something that's really popular, the next month it's gone. So if Coca-Cola wants to establish something in an American way, they're gonna fail big time here, because as Pepsi, as you know with Pepsi, is something will be here for 3 weeks and it's gone. They have to innovate. And to have an alcoholic drink, Coca-Cola is really gonna have to add flavors to it all the time. So it'll be Coca-Cola plus something, because if you check the vending machines in Japan, the vending machines are Coca-Cola vending machines, but inside, Coca-Cola is one of the least popular things. The cola is one of the least popular things in the vending machines. It's the tea that's the most popular. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, they're making a chuhai. Chuhai is a drink mixed with shochu, and shochu is made out of either mugi or barley, or with potatoes. Kagoshima being one of the most famous places for shochu. So we're gonna see Coca-Cola chuhai. And chuhai, if you've been to Japan, is a really cheap alcohol drink where people just smash it and get wasted off of this. But yeah, it can be refreshing as well. I heard that there's an ancient village in Japan, in the center of Japan. Yeah, Nagano. It gets a lot of press, but I'm not going to announce it yet because I was thinking of going there. But the internet has been going crazy over some images of an ancient town that's not unknown. Everybody knows about it. A couple of popular sites feature it, and then it goes big on the internet, and somebody has to make a video on it, right? That's a symbol for me. In Japan, in America, we go like this. In Japan, you touch your nose for me. Watashi. Sake in a vending machine. I have that down the street. Mark, I could show it to you on the way home. All right, let's go. I'll show it to you on the way home. The Mario Karts. So these are not on the best time of year. You guys aren't asking the questions for the best time of year, but the Mario Karts, as a local, I hate them. People don't follow the laws and there's been accidents. I think it's not 100% safe unless you have driven on the other side of the road. They give you a crash course, and I've seen a lot of near-miss accidents, okay? Before you start wanting to dress up like Mario and drive around, you know, think about it's an actual roadway, and people... I don't know if anyone's ever been in a major accident, but I've seen too many close calls at intersections where you have to turn, or the guide is inexperienced and he's not very good at keeping the group together. I've seen just too many scary moments to want to do it myself. And yeah, I don't know. I put it in the last video because I thought, I think it's kind of neat to see, but another part of me says this is not something that is gonna last past the 2020 Olympics. But if there's a market for it, it'll always exist as an attraction. So we'll see. You know, I think it's about $70 or $70 to $100 for 45 minutes or something. I'm not sure. I've never tried it before. Have you climbed Mount Fuji? Sorry, off topic. Deborah, you know, that's not so far off topic. I've climbed Mount Fuji 3 times, and twice for NHK. I climbed Mount Fuji twice for NHK for TV, and once for myself. It's the best time to climb. The best time to climb Mount Fuji, and this goes with the topic, is the course, according to the media, officially opens on July 1st. That's why you go on September 29th, or sorry, on June 29th. You go either on the day that the course opens, or you go a couple of days before, and there's no reason for you to follow what the media says. The course is open like all year round, just about. Anybody can climb Mount Fuji in the fall or in the early spring. It's just colder and the weather isn't perfect. But climb before July 1st if you can. It's sort of still the rainy season, but nothing is worse than waiting in line to get to the top for 5 hours. It's like going to Disneyland and waiting in line when you climb Mount Fuji. There's a queue, and you're waiting for all the old people to get. It's not their fault, but you're waiting for people to get to the top, and it ruins the experience of actually feeling like you're climbing something. You're climbing an icon. So, 3,776 meters up, which is a pretty significant height. Usually the next day I have a massive headache because my body hasn't adjusted to 3,776 meters. So you can get altitude sickness even at Mount Fuji. You can get altitude sickness at any mountain over 3,000 meters. Yeah, these are good questions. But the best time to climb Mount Fuji is just before or just after the climbing season. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. When is your meetup? Oh, this is from Rihanna Hadrell. I'm planning on doing this is really good. I'm glad that you asked that. I'm planning on, and thank you for the super chat, by the way. I'm planning on doing a meetup in the spring during the cherry blossom season here in dreary Tokyo. I just literally told everybody not to spend time in Tokyo, and I'm doing my meetup here in Tokyo because that's who everybody is. I told everybody not to go to Yoyogi Park, but I also said, though, that Yoyogi Park is a place where everybody meets their friends. So I'm thinking of doing a cherry blossom meetup in the beginning of April or the very end of March, and I might do more than one. The event will be announced here on the Only Japan Go channel and the main channel as a community post. YouTube has a community setting, and then I'll have the event will be listed on Facebook, and everybody who is using Facebook and is following that page will be able to see it. I don't use Facebook a lot. A lot of people will probably know that. Facebook, I don't use my private Facebook account. I maybe don't use it at all. Just kind of look at it. So if you're writing to me through my private Facebook account, don't expect an answer anymore. I feel bad because some people had written me messages, and I'm like, yeah, I don't use this. So Instagram or Patreon is the best place if you have a question and you want me to concentrate my time on it. But the best places. But if Facebook will be with the event pages, and I will announce it on the community page and probably do a stream before that and probably stream during it. So yeah, you're gonna hear a lot. As soon as March 20th comes, the Only Japan Go channel becomes the only in Japan Sakura channel, all because we're gonna do like a bazillion. Oh, vending machine. There's always a chance I'll be in Holland. I was in Holland about 2.5 years ago. So I might be back. There's some monster for Gretchen right there. She's the queen. Yeah. Oh, that melon drink looks interesting. You can see they still have some of the hot drinks. Sidebar Sound writes a good question here. And it's not just because it came with a super chat. Thank you. When's the best time of year to make new friends? And Amanda, I think, is probably, and I know that because she told me she's coming in Japan and she'll be alone. The best time of year to make friends is probably cherry blossoms, spring. But it's not limited to that. I think summer as well, because the days are longer and you're outdoors more. Spring, because everyone's outside drinking. And when people have a drink in their hands, they're a little bit more friendlier to talk to people. I think that's probably the best time of year for that. Yeah, it definitely is. Because you know what? You get a drink and you walk around, and I would leave my area, just walk around by myself. And people were always inviting me, hey, you, foreign guy, come sit down over here. And I would do it, like, hey, how's it going? They'd hand me a beer or an onigiri or some rice ball, and I would just start talking with them. And I think I made 3 episodes on the main channel about the cherry blossoms, and I think you can see that, yeah, it's a pretty fun experience, especially Yoyogi Park for making friends. Not so much with connecting with nature, but definitely for making friends. That's a good question. Kurobe Gorge, yeah, new episode idea. Yeah, that's really cool. I wanted to go there. You know what? I wanted to go there this summer, but there's a topic that I want to do that's very unique with the Kurobe Gorge and the dam there. But I didn't have a chance, and I was there for. I made a video on this on the Only in Japan Go channel, this channel, about the snow walls. So definitely check that out on this channel. I was there when I was hitchhiking a couple of April 25th, just when they opened it up. I think it'd been open for about a week, and the walls are massive. There was just near. This is the Tateyama Pass, which is very close to the Kurobe Gorge and dam. But I wanted to go back to see the dam, and I think that these infrastructure in Japan is just amazing for me. And the tourism around the infrastructures is pretty cool too, because it's just unique. You don't see that so much in other countries. Ken Tan asks a really good question. Does it rain often in Japan? And this is the last thing I want to say, because I'm going to end this live stream. I got to get back to the video editing of the new episode. This is my orange jacket from hitchhiking. Yeah. So the rainy season or the monsoon in Japan is maybe the toughest time to visit Japan, because it rains almost every day. It starts in June. I'd say around June 5th. And I make these. Thanks for the umbrella comment. I'm going by my feeling, because after 20 years of living in Japan, I can feel the seasons. It's like in my bones. I can feel when things happen. And the rainy season, I think it starts around June 5th, and it starts to get bad around June 15th. And then from June 15th till the end of July, it's raining almost every day. It starts tapering off around July 20th, but it will still rain all the way up to August 1st. Here's the funny thing. I don't know how Japan does it. I know they don't control like nature, but you know, on August 1st, the rainy season is like over. I don't know how it does that. Just August 1st, it's over. And you know what? It gets really humid, like a sauna. And then on September 1st, I don't know. I think it's like midnight or noon on September 1st. All the humidity's gone, and it's like autumn. You start to smell autumn in the air. You can smell the seasons. You can smell the seasons changing. I think it was about 10 days ago. Yeah, March 1st. I smelled spring for the first time. It was a warm day, and you could smell it, spring. And it's just it's so amazing. The rainy season is like that too. I can kind of feel it when it's just about to start, which is, I guess, like June 5th. You can feel the tingle, and then June 15th, it's like it's raining all the time. And I know, because every time I go running, and I run a lot here in Japan. I run along the river here, and I'm running a lot. And June to July is the hardest time to run because it's raining all the time, but you still run because it's warm enough to run in the rain, but it's your feet get all soggy. Yeah. So the rain, it does rain a lot. These are awesome questions. Charla, you're a great speaker. It's because I don't have many friends, and I just talk and talk and talk, and I don't have anybody. I'm a pretty good listener. I like to listen, but when there's nobody here, I talk. Does it snow early in January in Tokyo? Mark, this is a good question too. Gosh, it snows. My experience is that it snows a total of 2 to 3 times. Total, okay, in Tokyo in the winter. So Tokyo doesn't get much snow at all. It'll snow twice, and then 3 times if you're lucky. And there's usually 1 late snow. And I don't think we had it this year, so maybe it was 2 times. So it snowed the 2 times already. It snows really hard, and then the next day it melts, and that's it. It just turns to rain and it's gone. This year was a little bit colder. I think the snow stayed around. There was a Snokyo, they called it, and we had some snow in Tokyo that lasted for more than a day. So they called it Snokyo because Tokyo is not equipped to handle snowfall because we just don't get it. It's like, you know what, Tokyo, I would say, is comparable in weather-wise to Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is warm, and it gets snow every now and then, but the snow is not really sticks around very long. Washington, D.C. and Tokyo have a lot in common. Are you Indian? My mother's from Mumbai. This is another question and answer. Something to do at the time of the year, but my mother is originally from Mumbai. She was born in India, and she's an American citizen now. She's been living there since the mid-1970s when she married my father. But I have a ton of family in Mumbai. I have a ton of family in the Kannada region near Bangalore and Kolhapur, Pune, and just this area of India. There's a lot of family. I don't know who all of my family is. I didn't go to India until I was 22. And on my father's side, nobody has been to India except for me, and my brother went for the first time at age like 38, like last year. It's crazy, right? So I'm the only one, I think, in my family living in the U.S. besides my mom that has an affinity with India. And yeah, I went there right after. I went there when I was a college student, and it was the most amazing experience. And you know, I don't want to harp on too much about this because this is a totally different stream. I've seen India, and if you're Indian and you're watching, you've seen the country change so much over the last 20 years that I've been going to India. It just changes so much, and it's kind of an exciting time. And I'm seeing the city of Tokyo change so much, and I think that's something that we have in common. There's so many. Yes, I don't want to go too much on the history of this, but there's so much connection between India and Japan that we don't see on the surface. But hopefully over the years I'm going to be able to connect it. By the way, I'm going to be this month in a place called Sano in Tochigi Prefecture, or is it Saitama? In Sano, I just know Sano. I think it's Tochigi, and Sano is going to be having a cricket match. And I'm gonna go there and live stream a couple of times because it's just so unique. I don't know too much about cricket. It's like a weird baseball, but you know, Commonwealth, and India's really good at it. And I'm gonna go there and focus on the Indian community in Sano and cricket. And they have all of these events where Japan is really making an effort finally to appeal to India. And I know people in India have a tough time getting the visas. I think they still have to have like monetary inspections and things like this that you would expect. I don't think that's fair, and I think that that's going to end very soon. But and the visa requirements will get a lot easier. But it's kind of cool now to see finally Japan appealing more to India. So I'm going to cover that this month, which will be coming up in a live stream soon. couple of them. What's your job there, Matthew? Pretty much this: international work, consulting other companies about how to bridge between Japan and other cultures, because I've traveled a lot, and I can converse in both languages, and I've been in Japan for 20 years, so I can kind of feel what people want here, and I can feel what people want abroad, and I can make a living out of connecting cultures, which is really a dream job in many ways. Would you also compare Tokyo to New York City weather-wise? No. Tokyo is, you know what? It's weird. The reason why is because New York's winters are more like Sendai than they are Tokyo. Tokyo's winters are more like Washington, D.C. New York City's summers are milder than Tokyo. Tokyo is like Washington, D.C. in so many ways. It's just humid. New York gets a little bit humid, but nothing like Tokyo. I've traveled the world and I've been to many places. I've been to Singapore. Singapore is pretty hot, humid, hot. I gotta tell you though, Tokyo in the summer, because it's an island like Singapore, but there's just something about the heat. It's just so hot and unbearable. And these 2020 Olympics, I'm telling you right now, everybody, they have no idea. And my voice is cracking because of the pollen and because it kind of sounds funnier, but people have no idea what the Summer Olympics are going to be like in 2020, and they put it right in the middle of the end of the rainy season and the season where it just gets blistering hot. And that's going to be something that you want to keep your eyes on. Nobody has reported on this yet, on the mistake of putting the Olympics. I would have put the Olympics at the end of August, but they made a huge mistake, I think, and put it in July. And I think maybe NBC or the US had something to do with this. It's gonna be people are gonna be passing out, and you just do not know how hot this Tokyo Summer Olympics are gonna be. 1964 Olympics were not held, I think, in the center of summer. I think they were held in October. I got to go back and check. I want to be fact checked on this. Maybe somebody can make a comment here. But the 1964 Tokyo Olympics was not held in the center of summer, because I think even back then, people knew this is crazy. Don't do it. And yeah, a record number of heat strokes will be set. I guarantee you that people will not be prepared for what they're about to see. And everybody who makes a comment saying that I get this big sweat mark on my shirt, yeah, now you're gonna feel for the first time why I sweat so darn much in summer in Japan. It's just it's unstoppable, the sweat. So we're gonna see. Yeah, I just got thank you for that. October 10th to 24th. The Summer Olympics in 1964 were held on October 10th to 24th for a reason, okay? It might have to do with the construction. I'm not sure exactly, but the weather is so much better. And now we put it right in the center of summer. So keep your eyes on this, everybody. It's gonna be pretty funny. The best time of year to visit Japan is not when they put the Olympics. Something like that. Don't come at that time unless you have to. That's the only time you can come. There are festivals, but it's hot. Osaka is really hot. The professor writes the best time is winter, and John Smith writes $2. Thank you. Thank you for that. Winter is, you know what? This was the first winter that I really spent a lot of time out traveling. I was in Abashiri, and the pronunciation makes it sound like a different word for people who don't know Japanese, but I got a lot of comments on that. But Abashiri was very unique, and I got to go to Fukushima also in the start of winter and travel around the country more. And you know, it's pretty interesting how I can compare. The last year I traveled a lot in 2017, and you could really taste the difference in the seasonal foods. Because I was on the go almost nonstop through 2017. Literally, I mean, from the beginning of the year to the end. Take a look at the thing. I covered like most of the country except for Shikoku, and I got to go back to that island this year. But it's been, you know, winter is amazing because of the foods, I think, and the culture. Because when you have to be inside, you eat more, And when you eat more, you have to have more variety. And there's a lot of really amazing winter foods like nabe, like sukiyaki, like yakiniku. These are things type of fire. Okonomiyaki, teppanyaki, all these yakis, grilled inside the house, and that's such an amazing part of winter food. And the kotatsu, which I tried to make an episode, but some person kept putting that symbol in there and crashing it. But yeah, winter's not bad either. It's not the best time. It just depends on what your interests are. If you like skiing, then you're going to love winter. Of course, right? If you love winter, you're gonna love it here in Japan because they offer so many different things. If you're a tropical person like me, I'm not a big winter fan, but I'm starting to appreciate it more because I'm discovering all the other things that Japan has to offer besides just freezing in your house. Japanese homes. This is another thing that if you're staying in a hotel, I'm gonna do another live stream on where you should stay. Should you stay in a hotel? Should you stay in a guest house? Should you stay in a capsule hotel? How do capsule hotels work? Can you stay in a capsule hotel with a family? What are the different varieties of hotels outside of Tokyo, inside of Tokyo? I'm gonna go do another live stream on this. But Japanese homes, and this is important if you're considering an Airbnb, Karen. Thank you, I see that. Airbnbs, you have to understand Japanese homes, they're cold in the winter, hot in the summer, and really wonderful in the spring and fall. They don't have central heating or central cooling in houses in Japan. So rooms with air conditioners will be cool, and then the rest of the house is just hot in the summer. Or in the winter, it's just cold. And that's why you have like really heavy futons and blankets and sweaters and things like kotatsu. So I think if you're doing Airbnb, you have to, and you're not staying in a hotel, you have to be mindful that it's gonna get cold in the winter and hot in the summer, and the bills are gonna be astronomical because insulation stinks in Japanese homes. And you can just watch any video on this topic, you'll see, traditionally you had the paper the washi doors that would close, and the air can go in and out of it. And it's again connecting with nature, which is an important part of the Japanese culture. So when you have really bad insulation, you're really connecting with nature because that cold air is coming straight to you, and that hot air is coming straight to you, and the air conditioning does not last very long. So something to keep in mind. May is the best time. I would say May and September 15th to October 15th. They're my favorite times to travel. Yeah. I am keeping this live stream a little bit longer because I see that the numbers are going up and a lot of people are joining live stream for the first time. So I'm really appreciative of that. Nasha Broad has an Airbnb. Oh, let me see what Nasha wrote in here. My studio apartment, Airbnb, has air conditioning and a washer and dryer for under $40 a night. That's a steal. How did you steal? Christy writes, how did you know how you wanted to do YouTube? That's a good question. How did you know you wanted to do YouTube? I didn't. Sorry if I missed. The feed is going pretty quick. I'll answer this as quickly as possible because I don't want to get too much off topic, which is like I'd say 30% of this live stream. I started this channel in 2012, really. And you know what? I'm gonna take this back. I started this channel, and Rachel likes the sound of the pitter patter on top of the umbrella. I started this channel pretty much after the tsunami and the earthquake in 2011, and came up with the concept that I said I wanted to do something. I didn't know where to put it because before 2011, I think you can still see my videos on iTunes. I was a podcaster I was one of the first video podcasters in the world. As soon as I got that iPod video back in 2005, I started producing and finding out how to put the videos on a server, because iTunes, you need your own server, and then dishing that out to people by broadcasting it. The problem with iTunes was that you have to pay for your own bandwidth, and it became really expensive. I lost about $30,000 giving bandwidth, paying for the server to give to people. So iTunes was not unless you have a sponsor, iTunes does not work. It's not a consumer-generated media company, Apple. They don't really think like Google does. They think differently. They want professional brands and movies and TV. That's one thing I don't like about Apple. They don't really have anything for people to connect with other people, normal people. They want to sell stuff. They're business. So I decided not to do iTunes, and then in 2012, at the end of the year, I said I'm going to do a YouTube channel. I started coming up with the philosophy and the way I wanted to do it before I launched the channel. In 2013, the beginning, I started to film the episodes. And then I released the first one, I believe, right after the Naked Man Festival. And I wanted the first episode to be something that was challenging for me, because that would set the pace for the rest of the channel. The first episode is the Naked Man Festival, probably one of the most difficult episodes that I ever had to make, because there's just so many things that could go wrong, and it went so right. And that was an amazing, like, telltale of the direction of how this channel would go. And it did start off with a lot of butts. I mean that figuratively too. There were a lot of butts in that episode, but that was the sort of impact that I wanted to start this channel. And since then, because I started the bar off pretty high by challenging myself, I think that the channel could coast from that by doing the most difficult type of theme, which is a festival, and covering that really fully. I could coast with the channel a little bit and just live off of that. That was probably the hardest shoot, and one of the hardest shoots. The festival is always hard, and from that, everything, I was used to this lifestyle. But I'd been reporting very regularly on NHK World, a show called Tokyo Eye, and I do journeys in Japan about once a year, and I don't do too much of that TV stuff. But back then, I wanted to do things my way, and I wanted to try to do things my way. And I took the things that I learned from NHK. I learned so much. When you work with a professional team like NHK, or any TV company where you have a cameraman, and you have a lighting guy, and you have audio, and you go into studio shoots, and you work with celebrities who are very smooth at talking, it ups your game. So I said, I like what they do, but I want to see if I can do it better. I want to see if I can tell different stories. And I want to do things that interest me, not interest a producer at the TV network. And YouTube was the perfect platform to do that. YouTube, even though YouTubers will complain about being demonetized or stuff, I come from an era where I had to pay for my own bandwidth. I'm not very spoiled with that. I'm very appreciative that YouTube exists and this platform exists, because it's free bandwidth. And they have a way to monetize the videos. We didn't have that when I started putting videos online back before YouTube even existed. I was putting videos online before YouTube. You had to pay for your own bandwidth, or the service providers were not good enough, or they didn't offer enough bandwidth for video. It was a very tough age, 2005 and to 2007, for being a video producer for the internet. So I've been making videos for mobile applications since it started, pretty much. All the way back to 2003, which is when I started making travel videos. Yeah, that's my background. You know what? I will do another video on 2005 was the dark ages. It totally was. And that was also, if you're a video producer in those ages, it made you really strong, I think. It made you really appreciate what we have today. And now gosh, it's so easy, and yet it's so hard. Hey Mix, how you doing? Thanks. Any way to see the old iTunes stuff? Yes. The name of my company is called Weblish, Weblish. I think at the end of it, I had a company sponsor the bandwidth, and I think some of those videos are still available. I had a show called Reverse Engineering English. I taught English to Japanese. This is another thing. I'll do this in a separate live stream, because these are such great questions, and I appreciate you asking and wanting to know more about me. I don't do this in the main channel. I try to keep it more on. I try to keep the topics more on the topic, on the journalistic approach on reporting on something. But yeah, that's yeah, that was it's. Well, there's so many chats coming in right now, so thank you. Look on NHK World, save videos, Tokyo Eye. Yeah, that's also, thank you for that too. You can see the Tokyo Eye has some of the newer episodes, but I did most of my work with when Jennifer Julian, who's on the live streams a lot, that's where I met her on the, I'm gonna go inside here. I met Jennifer on the set in Tokyo Eye, where we were both working. I think the first episode we did was the Tokyo Skytree and the Tokyo Tower, before Tokyo Skytree was finished, because there's a lot of buzz on on this new tower that was being built. So NHK Tokyo Eye sent the two of us on a 1-week shoot around the city, interviewing people who remember Tokyo Tower, and we talked a lot, mostly about Tokyo Tower, but also about the Skytree coming. That's when I met Jennifer for the first time, and yeah, we just became really good friends, and since then we've been like this. So you can see that online, but I don't think you can see the older stuff. Some of it might be available on YouTube, you know, as pirated stuff. You know what? I have the DVDs somewhere. Maybe I could just someone should throw them online. But my iTunes stuff is still online, and I'll share this in another live stream sometime this month. See, next month is sorry, this week, March 11th. I want to do a live stream that kind of explains to you what was going through my mind and what happened on that day 7 years ago on 2011. That's a day, you know, I think if you were in Japan on that day and you were a resident of Tokyo or Japan or Tohoku, you felt what an earthquake really feels like for the first time, because that was the big one. And that was a tough time for me. That was a tough time for this whole country. And I want to do a special live stream on the 11th, which is just a couple of days from now, when I talk about that. And I think you're going to get to know a lot of questions about me personally. You're going to get to know me a lot when I talk about that, because I lose it. When I talk about what I saw after the earthquake and the people I met, and you know, there's a term called fly gene going on at this time, where people were running away from Tokyo. Foreign residents who lived in Tokyo all their lives, or for 20 or 30 years longer than me, were leaving when the country needed them the most. And I can understand that, and it makes me sad, because I had a lot of friends leave at that time. But you know, when the country needed you the most and you left because you were afraid, because you could leave and the Japanese couldn't leave, to me, I couldn't leave. That was the one time where I thought I had to stay. And that's when, after this and seeing the people and seeing tourism drop, that's when Only in Japan started to take shape as a channel in my mind, because I'd been producing videos for iTunes, I've been a reporter for NHK, I've had a lot of experience with this medium. And that's when it evolved into the show that you see now. And it came from a place of love for Japan. Yeah. So, yeah. So the rain is still going strong. You can see the puddles. I put the umbrella away, but it's not as bad as it was a little bit before. So hopefully the weather will get a little bit better the rest of the day. I got to get back to making the next episode for the main channel. The video is done. There's a lot of Japanese in it. This video was hard. Living to 100, living long in Japan. It was hard to make because there's a lot of interviews with people in Japanese, and I had to translate all of those episodes. It should be out. It should be out either tomorrow or this weekend. It should be out really soon. But it was a really hard one to make because of the amount of there's two people who are just meeting up. Let's see, two friends are meeting up for the first time. So it's a good episode. It's just, I think I don't want to release it until it's really good, and it's gonna take a little bit more work. But that's why I got to get back and finish that up for you guys. And tomorrow, though, I'm not done yet. Wait, hold on a second. I'm gonna go get a haircut as well. All right, it's gotten a little bit out of control. I gotta shave down the forest here, and tomorrow Peter and I are gonna try to do a live stream in Shinjuku. It might involve a scooter, so you're gonna want to tune in tomorrow. I'm guessing like around 5 p.m. Japan time, which is ridiculously late in New York. It's like 3 a.m. I think in New York, but near midnight in LA. But you're gonna want to tune in for that one, because I think when Peter and I get on the scooter, you know, it's a pretty freaky. It can get pretty freaky out there, because the signal goes in and out. But you know, he's driving it, and I'm holding the stick like this. So it's pretty cool though, because you get to see the city of Tokyo. I've been wanting to do this one for a long time, everybody. I'm gonna ride on the back with Peter. I'm gonna have this camera in my hand, and we'll both have helmets for those of you who are worried about me having a helmet. I've picked a great day to live stream. Yeah. So I want to take you on. Everybody's seen the movie like Tokyo Drift, right? Everybody has seen, well, not everybody, but a lot of people have seen those images of Japan going through Kabukicho, which is where all of these neon lights are, these signs that go up like 7 or 8 stories high. And I think it'd be cool to get on Peter's bike and the two of us to ride at sunset or when the lights come on through this area and kind of take it in and check it out. I don't know if the signal is going to be strong enough because there's a lot of people in that area of Shinjuku, but even if the lights aren't on or it's still dark, it's still going to be a lot of fun because we got two dudes riding a bike through the center of Tokyo, and it's a little moped. Well, he's got a decent bike, but it's got a little engine to it, so it's got a little beep beep, and we should have some fun. That's going to be tomorrow, and then if we have time, I'm a big supporter of my friends' efforts on YouTube, and as well as all of you, if you want to ever share your content with me, let me know. I'll have a look at it. I'm gonna get a lot of mail from that, but I try to support the people who support me, and this is a good philosophy. This is something that I've learned in my life, that is, if you are if you're a friend of mine and you're somebody who I know cares, I'm gonna always care back. And Peter, he's one of the most amazing voice talents like ever. Like, he could do all the movie trailers for Hollywood movies. He's got that voice, and he's got so much talent, and he should excel in a format like YouTube. And I really want to see his channel grow. And he's very creative in ways, I think, that are beyond his own profession of voice talent. And to tell stories and to see a different side of Japan through his eyes, I think is going to be really special as he evolves as a YouTuber, as Jennifer as well. Jennifer's is like the foodie, and you're going to see some amazing stuff from Jennifer. So yeah, always support your friends, and never forget where you came from and who are the people who are behind you. And those are the people, and that's why Peter is amazing. And this is why I don't do collaborations with a lot of other YouTubers. It's because I have such amazing friends that I would rather bring on the show and introduce you to that are not already on YouTube. New people. I think that's sort of a mission for this year for me too, is to try to use this Only in Japan Go channel, this platform that we have, and introduce you to different points of view and different kinds of people. And we started off the year with Hana. Do you remember Hana? Hana is Ruth's daughter, and Ruth is a friend of mine, and she played a song for us, and I thought that was a pretty cool experience. And if I could do more of that and bring you different kinds of people, not just YouTubers that you already know, but people who can't start a channel, or they want to start a channel, or they have dreams of their own, and they have big visions that aren't shown for you. These are the people I think that we really want to meet more, because they're not into themselves. And I'm not saying YouTubers are, but they're not into themselves or their channel so much. They're into something else, like a different kind of person. And for me, those are the kind of people that I'm more attracted to as friends, not somebody who is always taking pictures at the dinner table, for example. That's me these days. Although I like to put the phone away and then have somebody that I can talk to that's a real friend, and that these are the kind of people that I'm bringing to you. Because Peter and Jennifer and Kevin, they're that kind of people. And so I hope you're having fun getting to meet them too. Some YouTubers are into themselves. Japan Kofun, I try not to be, but it's hard. Like this live stream, for example, it's just me talking to the camera, so it's hard not to be the center. That's why it's good to talk about other people. So you don't want to people. You never want to be the person who acts like the smartest person in the room. The best kind of people that I like to talk to are the people who are like to listen as well. And you know who they are, I think. Because in Japan, all right, and I'm going to leave you with this, because this has totally off topic. There's an amazing term in Japan, Japanese, called KY, and it's just the words K and Y, and it stands for kuki yomeru, like read the air, right? You can read the air. And if you can read the air, that means you're looking at the things around you, and you're not looking at yourself. And there's too many people, or people who are new to Japan, or people who haven't been here long enough, and I'm talking about YouTubers as well. They could do a better job of KY, which is reading the air and seeing the things around them and reacting to that instead of themselves. And I think that's when you start to grow. That's when I started to grow as a person. It was when I put myself out of the center, and I started to kind of join into what was around me, and to listen more and find ways to connect with people through listening. And I learned a lot more, because I'll tell you what, I know a lot. I know a lot of stuff in Japan because I listen to people, and because I travel, and I do a lot of legwork, and I go around and I listen and I read and I listen, and it's now after 20 years, maybe I can talk a little bit and share this experience. But yeah, listening is a skill that you get maybe when you're older, after failing miserably many times. You just change your style and you start to listen, and you KY, kuki yomu, read the air a little bit more. All right, everybody. You don't need to talk all the time, John. Yeah, you know what? JTG writes something good. Sometimes we like to watch like a fly on the wall. I've been trying, JTG 1018. This is really, I really want to go, but this is a really good comment, because I got this a couple of times, and it made me, when I read it, made me think a little bit that you're right. So I think maybe if you take a look at some of the last, not in this live stream, because I didn't expect it to go over an hour. And if you've been watching the Only Japan Go show, you realize that these streams take on a life of its own. And when I say 10 minutes, I mean 20. But going back to the point, I try now to take like a minute, and I'll just turn the camera around, and I'll just walk. And I want you in the live streams to sort of take in the atmosphere. And that's another part of the main channel, the Only Japan show. I don't want to give you my opinion. That's another reason why I'm hesitant to tell you what to do. I want you to make up your own mind, all right? I want you to see these areas and make up your own mind if that's what you want to do. You see how beautiful it is. You can hear the history of it. You hear from other people in Japan. I made 3 episodes in Fukushima. I want you to make up your own mind if you want to go to Fukushima. If you don't, that's okay. If you do, I showed you enough beautiful things to help you make up your mind. And that's the freedom, and that's my respect for the viewer. And when I read the comment now that you just wrote, so I think that's a really good thing to do, is to you take some time and turn the camera around and just let you walk your own walk. And I'm going to do this more with the live streams, and let you take in the things yourself and be the fly on the wall. Because I watch back the episodes that I do on the Only in Japan while I'm working. It's in the background, and sometimes I'll turn and I'll look. And yeah, that if I was a viewer and I was on the other side of this camera like you watching, I think I would want to have moments like that where I can just make up my own mind. And that sort of goes with the philosophy of the show. So I take that to heart, and I do listen to your ideas. A lot of the stuff that I featured in 2017 were ideas from viewers. Just I kind of put my own spin on it, which is what a creator is supposed to do. We have to put our own spin on this stuff. Nori Kavis, John, there is a channel called Rambalak where the guy only walks around. Yeah, this is another reason. I think another viewer had recommended me to watch this channel, and I kind of dig that. I think, when you make, it's just like cooking. You have to have a balance of the ingredients, and live streaming is sort of the same thing. And this is very balanced on me talking, but that's not balanced. But in the live stream, I think you can feel the way that the things are going. You can feel the mood of the chats when you look at it, but you can feel the mood of that's why I like the live streams. I can feel from some of the comments on when to change something up a little bit, or when to do something differently, when to turn the camera around and just let you take it in for a couple of minutes. Or if there's something that we don't need to make a comment on, and Jennifer is behind me, I'll tell Jennifer like this, and just try to let you take in something Because when I'm with Jennifer, all we do is talk. We just want to talk a lot, you know. So if we can give you your time, then we will do that. I think it's important for you to feel the atmosphere behind you, like the pitter patter on the umbrella, right? These little things I can feel as a creator. I can feel like, yeah, you know, audio and lighting, and these are two of the things that YouTubers should spend more time on, like lighting better and better audio. And these are things that enhance the viewing experience that we can control. We can't control the smell yet, and you wouldn't want to smell some of the stuff that I smell. Although this area doesn't smell too bad. All right. John writes, please don't stop or change. I'm in my mid-40s. My changing era is done. Although I do have some big news some of you might know. So I will be making... March is going to be a big month for us on the channel. And I say us because the channel is evolving, always evolving. And I have some announcements that might surprise you. And I have some fun stuff that we're going to be doing. So thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. You almost slipped on the thing. It's kind of slippery on there. You almost slipped right here. Watch yourself. Maybe you heard that on the other side. So there's going to be some big announcements coming up. So tomorrow, live stream. Check it out. Me and Peter will be riding around on a bike. A lot of big news coming up this month. So thanks for taking the time to watch this live stream. I appreciate all the super chats. Thank you very much. And I will talk to you again soon. Thanks for tuning in.